Hey guys, so today I need more sticks to finish the border off. So in order to do that, I need to chop this tree to get some more branches and some more wood. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So one thing you need to remember, safety. Helmet, gloves and steel toe cap shoes. I'm using this, which is a chainsaw on a pole, so it can be dangerous. So if you take the precautions, you'll be fine. So, get quite hot doing that, especially on a nice mild day like today. It's just wearing the equipment, get hot with the helmet and everything. And you might have noticed, but I kept unplugging it every time I was moving the branch around, just safety precaution really, in case someone comes along, but also in case there's a malfunction with the equipment. Like I said, it's a chainsaw. So it can easily go through fingers, your legs, feet, anything. Make short work of the branches, which is great. Opens the tree up a little bit. Gives me the wood that I need. The leaves I'm going to compost. The twigs, well, I'll use them as and when. I do save, let's say, twigs, long branches like this. They're too thin for the border. Get a rough idea. It's about the size of my finger, well, a bit smaller. So it's not really worth using those. Whereas larger pieces, like I'm wearing my gloves for everything. Be a bit careful, but you can see that's a bit bigger than my finger. So yeah, just to give you an idea, the size of it. It's cut diagonally, so it's not the best way to see it, but you can see it's thicker than my finger. And if you look at the rings, well, you can look at the rings, kind of see them, but it looks like 1, 2, 3 years worth of growth, maybe. Yeah, 3 years worth of growth, I reckon, for this. That piece is 1 year, so this is what I'm after, this thicker stuff. Peg it down, means I don't need to put so many in the ground. That bigger piece there, that's the older branch that wants to cut down. I might cut some more off camera, but it's just kind of showing you what I do in the garden. But it does nicely open it up, and it provides free wood, which is what I need for this border and to finish off that border over there. So yeah, hopefully you like the video. If so, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, you know, all that stuff that everyone else seems to say. So, but yeah, if you like it, why not? So hopefully you found this video informative. Biggest thing that's gonna, or the longest thing that's gonna take now is clearing this up, but I suppose technically this is chop and drop, that's what they call it. You simply chop it, drop it, and if this was all mud, then, or soil or grass, then it will help with the nutrients of the soil. But because I've got paving slab down, which hopefully you've seen a few videos on, it's not really going to work, and I've chopped it down for a purpose. So all the greenery will be going in the compost, and the wood I'll be ideally utilising or using. So one of the advantages of having trees in the property, I've got a conifer, I've got a hedgerow, and I have the tree. So the tree is quite fast growing. I say fast. Saw that piece of wood, or that branch, was probably 3 years old. Some of it might be 4 years old, some of it might be 2. But within a couple of years you get all this extra biomass and productivity, which you can then use to chop down and break it down into compost, and then use it to feed the vegetables and the soil and plants and anything that you're growing. Probably hear in the background other people are doing some garden maintenance, mowing the lawn, because it is a nice day. It's not too windy. The other day it was quite windy. But I have noticed that even though it's only April, it's quite warm. We're only probably talking about 16 or 20 degrees in the sun, maximum, I would have thought. Which isn't particularly warm, but it feels warm coming out of winter. But one thing I have noticed every year is that we seem to get less frequent rainfall, but when it does rain it becomes heavier every year. So I need to try and think of a way, well, I have an idea or two, on how to collect the rainwater, and then I can use it in the garden for watering during the hot summer months. Hopefully we'll get a nice hot summer. I'm pretty sure we will. Last year kind of got up to like 35-40 degrees, and that was too hot, to be honest. Well, too hot for me anyway, to be sitting outside in the sun, which is kind of the reason why I've got the conifer in the hedge. Can't really see it on a day like today because the sun's not shining. It's kind of a little bit overcast, but when the sun is shining, like it has been for the last week or so, you can see there's a cooler patch, or a shady patch, which makes it look cooler. So even if it's 40 or 30 degrees and everyone's sweltering and obviously enjoying the sun, I can sit here, have a table and a seat, and sit down in the shade and be a bit cooler and eat ice cream, or read a book, or do something. I don't know. We'll see when we get there, I guess. So yeah, having a tree or a bush or anything that you can chop down every year just helps make compost with the leaves, and every year all the leaves fall off and help neutralise the soil. Well, not neutralise, but make the soil fertile. And that's just one big cycle, really. So now, if I get a shed here, which is kind of the plan, put some guttering on it, put some, let's say, rain barrels, water collectors, and the idea is to have a drip feed, which I've actually got, a cheap one from the pound shop, drip feed into the garden to water it every day, and then another barrel, which is always fill up, more or less fill up, will be for the watering can if I need to do extra watering or something in the evening. Most of the time I kind of neglect the garden, so either it overgrows or everything dies because it hasn't had enough water, at least in previous years. So we'll have to see how it goes this year. Even like 1 or 2 days without watering can kill the tomato plants and everything else if you're not careful, if they're too small. But I'll try and avoid that this year. Well, I finished cutting or pruning the tree. I move back a little bit. Hopefully you can see the cuttings that have been made. And what I have is all this biomass here for the garden, for the compost, and to make the rest of the border. Now I just wanted to give you a quick tour as well of the garden. So this is my rose bush, 5 years old. This is the basil, which is kind of dying, but that's to be expected. I've had it all winter. I've put some salad leaves, which I've harvested. I'm going to plant them in the ground, and in theory they should grow back. I've got this apple tree, you can see it, this one here, and it's now sprouting leaves on the ends. So it's just coming into season now. I do want to tie that back and form a structure for it. And I have rose cuttings, which mostly seem to be doing well. I think one might be dead, but the other ones appear to be alive. I have the basil, which is recovering from being inside. It's trying to go to seed, but I keep plucking it so it doesn't. and I've got rosemary and the bluebells at the back. So with all the chopping and cutting of the branches, you can see there's a lot of debris, petals and other things on the floor. Well, I'll have all this as well, which I'm going to leave for a couple of days, let it die back a little bit. It'll be easier to take the leaves off. This is the apple tree, which is producing quite a lot of leaves, and it also has these pink buds on here, which are going to be flowers. There's a couple there, a couple more there. I think there are some somewhere. Oh yeah, down here at the bottom as well. So once they flower and get pollinated, that'll produce apples. We had about 8 apples last year. This is the pear tree, which I've only ever had one pear, but something else ate it. Got to me before I got to, or something else got to the pear before I had a chance. But I have put a stake in, I think last week or a couple of days ago, and just put the main trunk, let's say, or the main branch that's growing up on the green, up onto the green stem, which is just a plastic stake that I got from somewhere. And then the rose is doing quite well, and then the rest of the garden, well, it all needs a good tidy again now, but I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it in a couple of days. I'm a little bit lazy in terms of gardening, but I think with these raised mounds, which I have done, with the excess earth, soil that I've put on top, that should keep the soil underneath nice and moist, even though it hasn't rained for, I don't know, 3 weeks, maybe a month. So the top soil, or the top part of the soil, will go hard and crusty, let's say. Inside the soil, it should be nice and moist. This is the soil I got from underneath the hedge when I was pruning the hedge earlier. I don't know if I can show you. Let's find a bare patch. If I dig down into the soil, you can see it will get more and more moist as I go down into the soil. So this is not very far down, but you can see that's a lot more moist than the top of the soil, which is all crumbly. But we'll put that back anyway. But it just kind of gives you a rough idea that it should retain a lot of the moisture, especially in England. It's kind of a wettish climate. And once I can set up the irrigation, if you look closely there's a robin. Yeah, if I can zoom in on him, there he is. He's come to say hello. And then off he goes. He does like sitting up on that fence, even though it's a little bit broken. I do have a little birdhouse, but no one tends to use it. It looks pretty. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Bit of a rough tour of the garden again. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.